this. This is the main ingredient. You're gonna love this. This is what you want to have come through. Hello, internet friends. Today I'm gonna be making one of my many different ways of making meatloaf. I've cut off all the fat. I went to my local butcher, got me some prime leftover cuts. I cut off the fat, and now I'm gonna grind it up into one of the many, like I said, meatloaf recipes that I make. You're gonna love this. All right, look at that. Freshly ground. I know what's in my ground beef. Okay, so I started out with a little over 6 pounds of trimmings from my butcher. So there's filet mignon in here, there is T-bone, there is sirloin, and maybe some lower quality meats, but I know what's in my particular blend here that I have. And I've got my fancy dancy, makes me look like a professional, gloves. Now, each one of these, you're gonna need only about 2 pounds of meat. So what I like to do is look at that, look at that. Just, cheers, everybody. 2 big bowls. I like big bowls. How many times you watch a cooking show and they come out, here you need 3 gallons of stuff, but use this little mixing bowl. I don't get people. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna eyeball what I think I'm gonna need and set that aside. This is for burgers tonight. I'm gonna season those up a different way. Why do I use gloves? It's kind of a joke to look professional, but now that I've got my hands or the gloves dirty with the meat, now I can use the other ingredients. So I'm gonna transfer this into a bigger bowl. So this particular meatloaf that I'm gonna make, I don't want to use a lot of ingredients that's gonna overpower my main ingredient. So what we're gonna do, we'll add a farm fresh egg, we'll wash out the shell and I'll add that to the compost. Now I should have cut my gloves on. And this is a shout out to Lisa, because she wanted me to show her some of my meatloaf specialties. All right, so we've got an egg. I'm usually utilizing fresh ingredients, but for this case, I'm going to use a teaspoon of basil, a teaspoon of oregano, and this is the main ingredient. You're going to love this. This is what you want to have come through. This is truffle, black truffle salt. So about, let's do 1 1/4. 1 1/4 teaspoons of black truffle salt. We're going to mix this up and then we're going to put it into our dishes here in meatloaf. Now, some people want to add garlic, some people want to add onions. That's fine. You can do that for other meatloafs. Like I said, there's about 1 million ways that you can make meatloaf. This one is something that I came up with. I love it. It's simple. The fragrance, the taste that's going to come out of this meatloaf, you're just going to absolutely love it, especially when you see what I top it off with. And I almost forgot breadcrumbs. Not a lot, because you don't want to dry out your meatloaf. And the black gloves are back on. Put the meatloaf into its pan. I'm going to cook this in the oven, 350 degrees. All right, turn down the fan. What is this doing here? What has this got to do with my meatloaf? You already saw me grind my own meat, but this has something to do with the topping as well. So, where do I put my rags? Here we go. The meatloaf is done. I took it out at an internal temperature of 155 degrees. Meat's going to continue to cook, and I don't want it to go much above 160. 165 tops. I like my meatloaf on the moist side. So, a couple of things that we're going to get into for the topping, and it's not what you think I'm going to say. So let me let you in on my meatloaf. So we're using very minimal ingredients that won't overpower the black truffle. So we also don't want to use so much black truffle that it overpowers everything as well. Little tidbit about black truffles, they grow in the soil near oak trees and hazelnut trees. So we're talking about a very earthy, some say garlicky, but just an earthy, creamy taste to the dark red meat that we're using. As I said, I used a combination of everything from filet to sirloin, odds and ends of the trimmings from my butcher. So we can do two things. Do not, for toppings, all right? You do not want to use a sauce on this. Trust me, ketchup people, Tabasco people, ketchup, Tabasco, any kind of, or barbecue sauce, no, not for this recipe. It will not taste good. You will ruin all of the time that you spent on this particular recipe. So, if with that savoriness you need sweetness, I'm going to tell you to top this off with crumbled blue cheese or camembert cheese. If you need moisture, which you probably won't if you're going to eat this right out of the oven, even leftovers with the juices, I reheat it along with the juices. I really don't need anything. If you do need moisture, because you can't trust what I'm telling you, butter. Don't melt it in a microwave. We don't want to clarify it. We want the butter still cloudy. So put a half a stick of butter in a pan, low heat, cover it up, let it melt down slowly so it still looks cloudy. Then you can either drizzle it over the top or dip your bite of meatloaf into the butter. Now, if you want to stay savory, what I recommend, aged cheddar, or for this particular recipe, what we're going to do is we're putting in parmesan. All right, I got to stand up and operate my machinery. No jewelry, no rings. You know the drill. All right, I'm not going to take up too much time. This one is more like shredded. So I'm going to plate this up and show you. All right, my friends, like I said, I took the meatloaf out of the oven when the internal temperature was 155 degrees. Look at that, perfect, perfectly juicy. And we're just going to borrow some of the Parmesan here. Now, obviously, I've taken the time to talk about this, so the meat has cooled down a little bit. You could do it so that the minute you take it out of the oven, already have the cheese grated or shredded. Here's a side note: don't use the grocery stuff that you buy on the shelf. It's coated with something not that good. You want fresh. So look at that. Some of it's starting to melt already. So black truffle and Parmesan meatloaf, you're absolutely going to love this. You don't need a sauce. Look at how juicy that is. This is a shout out to Lisa. She wanted my meatloaf recipe. One of many. I could probably do a whole YouTube channel for 2 years just making meatloaf. Here's the great thing about meatloaf. If you have leftovers, you know what I like to do? You can heat it up as meatloaf or whatever, or just slice some off, heat it up, put it on a hamburger bun, put your favorite toppings on it. By that time, you're not gonna worry about too much about ruining the flavors. You can put on a sliced tomato, a little bit of lettuce, maybe I don't know about an onion. I'd stay away from an onion with this one. Anyhow, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of mustard, and have yourself a hamburger sandwich. Tell all your friends, like, subscribe, share this one. Share this one, guys. Out of this world. As always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Bring your best and have the best day of your life, because you're worth it.